I'm in the mood. I'm feeling rude. I'm feeling hot. I want to run. The feeling exciting. So darling, let's do something. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. Rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body. Your body. I just get paid. I want to play. The vibes is right. I wanna hug up tight. No time to waste. I wanna work my ways. So come on up, babes. Give me a taste. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub and love up. I wanna rub and kiss up. I wanna rub and jam up. I wanna rub and rub up. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Well, no. I'm feeling, 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 I'm feeling. Smoke in my brain. I wanna do my thing. Work up a sweat until I soak in wet. Rub your body, show no mercy. Because I'm feeling tipsy, I'm feeling freaky. I wanna rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body. Let me rub my body on your body. I wanna rub my body on your body.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good evening. Good evening to every single one of you. All of you. I'm not going to be calling your names right now because if I do, it's going to take me all day, all night. I may probably, in doing so, I could jump on a plane and reach to Ghana, do an interview on one of those radio stations and take some photographs, walk around. If I do that, it would be genuine. But the other person who is doing it right now, you guys know. And I wish you could read my lips, right? Renee Mackenzie Talbot, where the heck have you been? Welcome back. Good to see you back. Gosh, we really did. We actually missed you. We did. I'm being honest. Oops. Our operator Lemon. Look what he put up there. Uniform store. I just realized that he has something up already. He is saying to you guys to go down to this business, this store. Those of you who are in Brooklyn, if you're visiting Brooklyn, look at this store, uniform. Schools, nurses, all these things they're selling, shoes, bags, caps, gongs. Gosh, Lemon got me reading ads. So since I'm in the mood of reading ads, compliment of Lemon, who's back on the job, mind you, let's go to this. Andrew's Supermarket. Andrew's Supermarket. I'm told that those folks at Andrew's Supermarket, they're listening to this show. So good evening to all the folks at Andrew's Supermarket. Oh yeah, Andrew's Supermarket in South on Aubrey Barker Road. Support this business and support businesses that are warm to you guys. Right, Sean Williams? DJ. The funny thing is we have a lot of DJs do listen to this show, Not you alone, Miss Booker. I got to get Miss Booker a Christmas present. She's always on this show, just like many of you there. I noticed Shoy Gibson. Yeah, she's a relative of mine. She's back. She's all over the place, man. She's on all the shows. But I'm glad she has taken time out to be with her cousin this evening. Good evening. Richard Kishore. Man, I saw you when Ramjatan and Jai Prashad, members of parliament, Mr. Ramjatan and Pandit Jai Prashad, they were hot this evening. Seriously, they were hot this evening. Ramjatan dish it out on them. He dish it out. One day Ghana, like Ramjatan said, one day Ghana, and the other one there Dubai. One day Ghana, one day Dubai. But you can't. I like it. I like it when those country guys, when we do speak abitak, right? But Ramjatan say one day Ghana and one day Dubai. But Ramjatan wanted to sing the song Unga Ghana, Unga Ghana. I wonder if Apostle Nigel London knows that song. Unga Ghana. Mr. Ramjatan almost sang that song to Pandit. Unga Ghana. Right? If our operator can just remove the ad now, Andrew's Supermarket. I think you all know it by now, so that you can see this face. Hey, how are you guys doing? Well, we're gonna rock and roll for about an hour. Before we get into that, hey, I got hold of this. Look, y'all know, if you guys can tell me what's in that box, it's a big box, a huge box, right? A huge box that the guys from the Guyana police force, right? A huge box. The guys from the Guyana police force, they deliver the boxes at the court, right? The magistrate's court. And they're saying to those persons that they trumped up those charges. Thank you, Sean Williams, ex-policeman. Put handcuffs on me once. I will meet you up in Brooklyn, trust me. And I'll shake your hand. I'll shake your hand in Brooklyn. Because Brooklyn is where it happens, right? Handshakes. I'm sorry. I'm just being a bit naughty. I shouldn't be doing that. As soon as Apostle London comes on, I may just have him say a prayer for me this evening. Seriously. No, they're not ballot boxes. They're SOPs. Oh, yes, SOPs that the police, they're packaged together and they sent these SOPs to the courts for people like Carol Joseph, Walter Lawrence, and all of them to go down there and pick up. But the way they pack those boxes, you would think that it's a heck of a lot. But look, just a couple of papers they put in one big box. Then another couple of papers they put in another box. And that's what they did. They put general SOR, statement of, what is it? SOR. You guys help me out there, right? And then they get SOR, and they get SOP, and they get all sort of things, right? Like Ramjatan said, I go wrong on Bariat, right? I go wrong. And probably sing all sort of things, right? Yeah. This guy, we're not going to deal. This guy was, look at him, lying guy in Ghana. Imagine this guy went straight to Ghana to lie. He goes to Babujan, he lies. Anywhere he goes, he lies. He lies, he lies, he lies. When are you guys going to get this straight? I know some of the trench crappers are often on and they love to cuss up. How you know that? How you know that? Benschop, you do thing in jail. Benschop, tell them by what you do in jail. That's all they're concerned about. Benschop, tell them by what you do in jail, by. But they're not going to look at this guy and ask you what he used to do at State House, or what you're doing in your office, or what he does do at home, right? That is exactly Lexi Boss. You're right. Bundari. You know, maybe they should sing a chutney too, not just Unga Gana. They should sing Oh Bundari Babu. Oh Bundari Babu. I am the very best at the Bundari Babu. Right? A lot of you guys, I bet probably know Bundari back in the days, right? Bundari. Good evening to all of you, man. Look, Pastor is going to pray for me when he comes on, man. Pastor is going to pray for me. Let's get straight into Pastor this evening, because he's got to pray for me, man. Pastor, Apostle, before we begin, just pray for me. Pray for all of us. You heard what I was going on with.
I surely did. What a task.
And then I realized that you were my guest. I'm like, oops, did I do that? Good evening to you, Apostle John. How are you?
Good evening to you, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. It is well.
It is well.
How are you?
It is well in my soul. It is well indeed. Good to see you. But things are not so well in Linden, man. Look at this.
No, they're not.
Look at this, Apostle. Look at this. Linden mourns. Look, 5 persons. What's going on? What's the mood of the tongue like? But before you respond, Apostle, let me extend condolences to the relatives and the friends of all these Lindeners who have died. What's happening in that tongue, Apostle? What's happening?
Well, of course, quite a bit is happening, and I tried my best. Only the likes of you could get me to present myself live, because for much of the day, I've been quite livid based on that which is occurring in our town. And apart from that, it's really painful. The young man at the bottom left that you would have posted earlier, he stood with us at the bridge, and he was very, very strong and courageous. It's a young man that would have brought much joy to my heart to know that we haven't lost all in reference to the ability to stand. And he was quite adamant about the freedom that we should have as a people to determine what enters our body. And so that young man, Ron, I certainly was hit by the fact of his passing. The high school teacher, the principal of the school, I knew him, known to me personally, Mr. Small. It's upsetting because of the fact that I've been saying this for quite a while, that in the most infectious period, the deadliest time regarding SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19 disease, the school should not be opened because we do not have a healthcare system that can accommodate or deal with any significant spike or surge in cases. Here we have a case in which this young man, a principal who's been mandated to be at school, he's actually been instructed, or would have been, to lock teachers out and all the rest of it. And just in order to comply with pre-Manic Chant's orders, we've lost him. I don't know how much more we have to see, how many more people have to go this way. So quite a bit is happening in our town, and it's just frustrating. It's upsetting, and I actually plan in the morning, Yahweh willing, I shall be in the Mackenzie area, staging my independent individual protest that the school should be closed. Because after he passed, they now issued an order saying the school be closed until further notice, and they returned to online learning. Why? Online teaching. How come? I thought you'd have had learning loss. So these people in the Ministry of Education, Pre-Manic Chant, Marcel Hudson, all of them, they know that they can function with online learning until the situation is quelled, but they don't want to do it. They wait until people die before they can implement it again. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I'm going to stage a protest in the morning. I'll be standing outside of Mackenzie High School because Mr. Small was a friend of mine. We actually played soccer, football a little bit. He wasn't that good, of course. Neither was I. But we played together. And here we have a stupid situation that could have been avoided in the first place. Because Priya Manachan just wants to prove a point to somebody that she must have things her way. It doesn't matter what happens. It must be done her way. And we have lost him. We've lost another teacher, Mr. Giddens. We've lost one, of course, in the early stages in the US. That school is, that's my alma mater. The PTA president, the vice president. I mean, this is just crazy.
It is beyond crazy, Apostle London, if you're now joining us. Look, I like that what you're saying. And I do hope that other folks go and join you. Not just you alone, but I like that what I'm hearing. What time do you plan on heading to? Sorry, you said in front of
Mackenzie High School. In front of Mackenzie High School in the morning.
What time?
At 8 o'clock. It's symbolic. School normally starts at 8, and I will start my protest at 8 o'clock. I'll stand in front of the gate. Nobody's going to be there, they said. Suddenly they know they can keep students away. But
okay,
look at how many interactions have been.
1 second, Apostle. Sorry to speak over you.
That's fine, not a problem.
No one is going to be there because of the death of this principal. They've canceled
all classes.
Is that for all schools in Linden or just Mackenzie High?
No, sir. Just Mackenzie High School. The truth is that when they learn of his infection and they learn of his being ill, a daughter of my teacher's there. So they were told that they would have to be tested if they were in proximity and all the rest of it. And then they said they'll just fumigate the school. And I said, you're not going back there in that environment because it's just crazy. I don't know what they get this concept of fumigating and everything else from. And the regional health officer and others would have advised, I would like to think. But then this morning, when they learned of his passing, by afternoon, we saw a notice to say that the school is closed until further notice. And they would resort to online teaching. So I'll be there from 8 in the morning.
Online teaching, we will carry you live right here on 107.1 FM. From 8 o'clock in the morning, we will carry you live. And we do hope that others join you. Now, I don't know how accurate it is, but I heard that the principal for Mackenzie High School was partially vaccinated.
That's correct. That is correct. He was, but the reports I'm getting yet again is that he was taken to the infectious disease center at Liliendal, known as a COVID hospital. The report from a family member is that they were seeking to connect certain apparatuses to him. And as a result of that, he ended up having a cardiac arrest, which is a heart attack. So he did not die from COVID. He died with COVID, according to reports. And that's a big difference. It would have been, I thought they brought 51 Cubans or 52 Cuban intensivists to function at this center. And they were so skilled, according to Frank Anthony, that they could do so well. But it seems as if since they arrived here, we've got more people dying at the infectious disease center than anything else. So here's another case where we have a report. I hope the family would be willing to go public with this. Because if they're seeking to attach certain devices to him, he went there in good spirits. The last report I got when I inquired about him, he was feeling well or better here in Linden, Region 10. He was transferred there. They sought to connect certain apparatuses to him, and that was the end of it. Suffered a cardiac arrest, although he was partially vaccinated.
You know, I've heard lots of cases of persons improving. But as soon as I got to the COVID hospital there in Liliendal, things have changed for the worse.
Yes.
I don't know what is happening there, but something is definitely not right. I heard of cases where people just went completely down. They kicked the bucket. They left. They have butched this some tube that they were supposed to do on put on Imran Khan. They have messed up also. We are hearing another case with this principle. Go ahead.
Yes, I've heard of that, and something has to be done. But the challenge we face is that we are led at this time, or the nation is being led at this time, by people who are unprepared to accept responsibilities for certain actions. They're always apparently right, and regardless of what happens, they find a way to explain it or some way around it to say it's not actually what the case. So now we're hearing, yes, thank you. We're now hearing about comorbidity. I mean, we cannot be so, or they should not be this casual in relation to people's lives. This is a young man who was a young principal. He was trying at one of the schools here in Region 10, the better schools as they've labeled it. And to know that this individual would have put his life at risk just to appease Priyamanik Chand. Look at what has become of it, and look at what is being told now. That is not the fault of those at the hospital. It's just that he suffered a cardiac arrest. How did it happen? I mean, there has to be answers. And I'm requesting, and in my protest tomorrow will stand, to request that there be an investigation into what happens at this place. I am very patient, Mr. Benschop. I don't know how many years it takes. Somebody will have to give account to us as Guyanese about what happened from August, when the PPP Civic took office, up until whenever it is, because things change for the worst under them in reference to handling this pandemic.
Yes, the evidence is quite clear, approaching probably 900 persons as of today. An 18-year-old girl died. I don't know what's happening, but something is fishy, Apostle. Something is fishy.
Something is. And we have the young man as well. As I spoke to the young man who was at the protest with us, I saw someone saying that he was more or less crying out for help because of depression and things of that nature. He was going through quite a bit. And the society in itself, we're very stressed because there's a situation on our hand in this nation where the government is creating an environment that makes it difficult for Guyanese to be happy.
Apostle, I just want to make this clear that I don't know under what circumstances all of these folks have died, whether it's COVID related. I don't know.
No, they're not all.
I'm just using this photograph because someone posted earlier and said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." Rest in peace, guys. They're saying Linden mourns. All of these folks are Lindeners, but it doesn't mean that they died as a result of COVID-19. So I just want to make this point clear in the event that their relatives or friends might be watching, to say that I'm associating them with COVID-19. No, I'm not. But you're saying this young man, you're saying he was on the bridge.
He was with us. He stood with me for almost all of the day. He was very, very courageous. Actually, he was one who was saying that Frank Anthony needs to come to speak to us. He was very adamant that Frank Anthony needs to express respect and demonstrate respect. But I told him that given what I know, and given what I know about the nature of this regime, they would be happy to assign persons to come to shoot at them, to shoot at us, and none of them in the administration would even risk coming themselves to do it. And so I convinced those young men that if these people don't intend to come to stand with guns in their hands themselves, then I will not waste my time to engage a police officer. If they come by themselves to stand in my face, as men should, then we can have an encounter. And I'm not going to waste my time to be engaging police officers who were sent by Robeson Ben or anybody else. But that young man, I've heard many other young men. It's a very stressful situation in this country right now because the government of the day is pushing an agenda of creating a class war in Guyana. It is now the haves against the have-nots, and a very few of them are enjoying significant benefits, while it seems as if we've got two different economies functioning in this nation. And I would like to speak to that as well, because it is not just about the SARS-CoV-2 situation, not just about COVID-19. People are enduring significant degrees of stress in this nation, and something has to be done about it. What is even worse is the inaction, I would always say it, of the unions in this nation. Many of the unions, it seems that they're non-existent, and the employees are suffering significantly. We have a case in Linden whereby two of our nurses have made the news that have been arrested and charged for fraud in reference to forging vaccination ID, the books. Why were they doing it? Because they're trying to help somebody to get the way around things. So a lot is happening in our community that has to stop. And this is all on the back of the government.
People, you're correct. People all over the country, look at this. $800 under the coalition, 360, whatever. Look at it now. $800. And this is just one of many other items that have skyrocketed under this installed regime. They just don't care. And even as they don't care right now, Mr. Irfan Ali is in one part of the world, well, almost, and Jagdeo is in another part of the world, talking about investments and business and billions of dollars. Where are those businesses going to go? What billions of dollars investments are they talking about? Get a chew on that.
Yes, please. Exactly. I've said it before Barra Jagdeo left, and I will still say it, and upon his return, I'll say it to him if I have to. It is very disrespectful for Barra Jagdeo to go to Ghana, given the history of slavery and everything else, to represent me and any other African descendant. Barra Jagdeo does not speak for me. He will never be qualified to speak for me in reference to engaging such a historical...
I missed it there for a second.
Okay.
Maybe I heard you
again.
but I deliberately want you to repeat. Barra Jagdeo is currently in Ghana. Go ahead.
He is in Ghana. Yeah. Barra Jagdeo is in Ghana. And before he left, I announced my displeasure that I would not have any joy in having Barra Jagdeo speak on my behalf in Ghana. The history of my foreparents, the historicity of this whole Guyana chain and connection, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, and the treatment that Barra Jagdeo has made out to Guyanese people of African descent disqualifies him from speaking on my behalf. The fact that he can be, I haven't heard him disapprove of it, even suggesting that Mahatma Gandhi, his name should be posted on the street, in Middle Street and those places. I mean, why is he in Ghana when he's not being genuine about the treatment of African descendants? More than that, why could we not have someone of African descent paying such or making such a very important trip to Ghana? Even more significant is the fact that we have got Jagdeo seeking to negotiate the Ghanaians and sell Guyana. Again, speaking about investment. Then we have Irfan Ali in Dubai speaking about investment. They spoke about agricultural opportunities without having the Minister of Agriculture there. So it seems as if they decided on the flight that they're going to speak about agricultural opportunities. Because I cannot see them discussing agriculture. And the Minister of Agriculture is stuck in Guyana. But Tourism Minister, Ramson, Sports, the one for tourism, who else we had? Irfan Ali. They're talking about agricultural opportunities in Guyana and little man, what is his name? Ashni Singh. What are we doing? And what we have on our hand is that I have noticed the report that the economy has grown 14+%. I mean, we are going out to the water in reference to economic development. But who is benefiting from it? There's nobody in Region 10, and I spoke to many people outside of Region 10 who can say to me that they felt the impact of this 14+% increase in our economy. So it is not the average Guyanese.
We'll get back to that. You are correct. It is not the average Guyanese.
No.
Not at all. In an interview, this guy at this station, not this station, but a station, radio station in Ghana, where my maternal grandmother's parents or great-grandparents are from, or grandparents, Ghana. I've got to go to Ghana someday. But this guy, Jagdeo, sat in that radio station, in that studio, and he said that African Guyanese, Afro-Guyanese, did not enjoy a good lifestyle under the PNC, the 28 years of PNC rule, but had the best of lifestyle and treatment under his presidency, under the 23 years of the PPP. And when he said that, I looked at the interviewer's face and I'm like, if I can just bore through this computer screen and say, girl, this banner lying. This man is a liar. What is your take? I'm not sure whether you heard that part. I'm telling you that I heard that. He said that African Guyanese get the best of treatment. We all know what happened: extrajudicial killings, phantom squad killings, discrimination. They had just probably half of a black person who was a diplomat. All the others were non-black. Go on concerning that particular statement.
Sure. And it depends on what he considered to be the best treatment. Because I'm fully convinced that these, a few of them in the administration, the current administration, believe that whatever is done to African Guyanese is the best that they can do for us. So I can understand the nature of his statement. I mean, so maybe in his mind, whatever was done to African Guyanese, like your Hansi Douglas and these people, even you, and that's the best they could have done for you. So when he says we had the best treatment, is the best that they can offer, which is why every African Guyanese should have objected to him being there in the first place. But to really speak to it for what it is, for Barra Jagdeo to suggest that the PPP Civic treated African Guyanese better than
let me
any
just,
other.
1 second, if you stick a pin there. Persons are upset that I have him on the screen, and if we can have our operator Lemon, they're upset that we still have him on the screen. So forgive me. Let's remove him and let me apologize to our listeners. Continue, Apostle, please.
Thank you. The manner in which Africans have been treated under and continue to be treated, as a matter of fact, under the PPP Civic administration speaks to exactly why there was cause for so many people to speak about racism, discrimination, the wanton nature in reference to how they handle our well-being. And then the most insulting would be Irfan Ali seeking to go to the UN to suddenly speak about reparations for Africans. I mean, it seems as if there is no conscience left in these people. And there has to be a moment in our history as Guyanese where we seek to rewrite the wrong, because it is becoming unbearable. It is already unbearable, but it's now approaching a dangerous place in which many Guyanese are quiet in the midst of oppression. And that is very dangerous. Barra Jagdeo can never say that I enjoyed or was able to enjoy a better life under the leadership of the PPP Civic, when police officers on more than one occasion, when vigilantes on more than one occasion, and I'm not speaking about racism, I'm telling you the fact, approached me with AK-47 rifles with my wife in the car, chased me down the road. And when I stopped at Sheriff Street, these men from industry area had guns in my face because some black person robbed somebody. Of course, I don't fear people, so I said to them, okay, so am I the only person? Vigilante with AK-47 rifles under Jagdeo's leadership. Is that the best I could have enjoyed? And only because it's because I'm very witty. I knew exactly not to stop on the railway embankment where it was dark when they tried to run my car off the street with my wife in the car, young married couple.
Wow.
Just because I was black, they said it. A black person just robbed somebody. So I said, no, that's what Guyana's come to. But this is what we didn't do. By people were equipped with high-powered rifles, and they were not police officers. Is that the best that could have happened to us as African Guyanese? Because I know of nobody in Region 10 who was equipped with such rifles by the PP Civic. It was under his rulership that these things happened to us.
And the thing is that this guy is allowed to get away with these lies. I was wondering what was going through the interviewer's mind. Whether she did some sort of research to know that that guy was lying. He lied about the third term. He said he didn't want no third term. But in fact, he wanted a third term. And they went out and they paid somebody to go and file a court order to say that the Constitution, allows for a third term. That case was written with Jagdeo all over it.
But they did not also say that when in 2019 about it, he has no interest in running again because he's bored by all of the little things you have to do as a president. But yet he could go to Ghana to plant a little tree and scoop soil and put it in the ground and pour water in it. No, I thought he was bored of these things. He said he doesn't have time for that. He doesn't want to be engaged in such frivolous things. But yet, as a vice president, he could act in such a presidential manner. And it is tragic that we as Guyanese here on the ground and in the diaspora would have to sit and watch this nonsense unfold. And apparently, whenever I'm sure I have to say it, apparently we do not have enough members of the opposition or leading the opposition to really put the pressure on these people. I know.
Thank you, Apostle.
I'll try.
I know. We will try. But you are correct. They need those who are in the opposition. I don't want to get started up. That's why I say
I understand.
Started up now, right? But back to the discrimination and so forth. I want to remind folks, Lincoln Lewis, if he's listening, good evening to you, Brother Lincoln. His ancestral lands out West Coast Berbice. Anil Nandalal went there and encouraged people to go and take over the man's land. All sorts of things they did, saying that the land doesn't belong to Lincoln's family, Kojo McPherson, his great-great-grandfather. But this is what I came into contact with. This is a letter written by Kojo McPherson.
Wow.
Lincoln Lewis's great-great-grandfather, written to one of the governors or somebody back then, saying that that plot of land belongs to them, Kojo McPherson. I don't know. I'm going to deal with this story some other time. But yet Jagdeo is in Ghana. He is in Ghana. He's probably about to leave Ghana, right? Lying to the people, the Ghanaian, lying to them, left, right, and center, lying to those people. I don't know. But I have one issue, though. One issue. Mr. Harman was supposedly in Ghana. I don't know, but I thought that was the case. He was in Ghana a couple of weeks ago. Oh, man. You mean Harman couldn't take a photograph? You mean Harman couldn't have had an interview? You mean he could not have walked around and plant a tree, even if it's a lilac tree? Do something? Now, Jagdeo is there. I don't know why every time Bundari and Jagdeo. Do forgive me, Apostle, for going a little out of hand. But Jagdeo is there, and he's all over the place, lying and lying and lying. Why wasn't Harman doing these same things? I'm not talking about lying.
It cannot be possible that Harman was in Ghana. I refuse to believe that. Unless he was on a secret mission because he has more right to engage the Ghanaians than anybody else. But I don't know why he chose to raise this. Something has gone wrong with our country, and we have to bring it back on course, because it is either we have opposition leaders who want to function, or they remove themselves and let those who can do it. But the course of action, to me, and I may be wrong, I hope that I'm wrong, it seems as if there's now an unannounced coalition between the opposition and the government. Some members, that is, to say we're not going to trouble you, you don't trouble us, just make the regular statements and let us just move forward as friends, so we can all enjoy certain benefits. Because I have never seen Guyana function in this manner. I have never seen this nation function in this manner, in which an opposition leader who should be so peeved and so upset at the manner in which things have been done to him and to the people that he would have served, that he serves. I have never seen somebody be so quiet, laid back, relaxed, and just prone to issuing every so often statements. There has to be some arrangement. I hope that I'm wrong. And I hope that one day I'm proven to be wrong. But based on what I'm seeing, someone may have agreed that if we all get along, then we will all benefit on the backs of Guyanese people. That's as much as I can make of it, because this is too unusual. This is too abnormal to have anything else attached to it, in my mind. Our political leaders, some of them may be a part of the elite society that is becoming the new Guyana.
Usually, Apostle London, whenever someone is making a point and I'm back in my chair like this, it simply means I'm giving that person the world of time.
You are? Well, thank you.
Go ahead.
Now that I know, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because if we examine how much of the taxpayers' money is just being dished out across Guyana, additionally, to travel to Dubai, to travel to Ghana, would come with a hefty price tag that we have to pay. Gaisuco employees are given payouts that the taxpayers have to foot the bill. And again, we are not hearing from these elements in the upper tier of leadership. We're not hearing them say, come on, supporters, we have to stop this. We have to launch some serious protest action against this government because they're wasting taxpayers' money, or they're spending it lavishly in a time when the poor man needs it. You're not hearing that, because it has to be a case in which, more than likely, someone stands to benefit significantly as being a member of the elite class in Guyana. Guyana has got a class issue, I say again, that is drifting away from a race or an ethnic issue, and it's now becoming a class issue. And some people, I've noticed, are prepared to be deemed upper class, although they are opposition. And that is quite unfortunate. And I hope that the day would soon arrive when Guyanese can see that your enemies and those who seek to wound you may very well be the ones that you chose to lead you.
I like what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. I don't have anything else to add. But let me ask you this. If Mr. Harmon is watching right now, address him directly about the problems that you're hearing, not only from folks in Region 10, but you travel the country now. You're all over based on my information. And I like that. I salute you on that. Address Mr. Harmon directly about what people are saying concerning the opposition.
I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to do so. And I shall, because I was actually in Essequibo, Region 2, over the weekend. I engaged people in Region 2. I was actually heartened to know that they follow what I do so closely, and they're in support of it. And Mr. Harmon, I would like to submit to you, sir, that the fact that you stand or sit in the seat of the official leader of the opposition It requires your functioning in a manner that gives confidence to over 200,000 Guyanese who would have voted for you. The challenge is that most of them by now, that I've interacted with, quite a few of them, have lost just about every bit of confidence in your ability to function as a leader of the opposition. Because if you cannot distinguish between a press release or a public relations officer and a leader of the opposition, then you shall continue to function as a public relations officer, which is what you're actually doing. We expect, as Guyanese people, although I haven't voted for you or Granger, I expect you to demonstrate to Guyanese people the courage of one who would have been trained in the military, to stand in the face of any adversity, even if it costs you your life. There is too much that you're seeking to protect this time, apparently. And it is causing you, and has already caused you, to lose significant ground, especially in your most potent region of support, which is Region 10. I doubt you would ever want to take the risk to come to Region 10 to speak to anybody here at this time, because you've lost many opportunities to do so. When people have to resort to seeking to find as many means as possible to get access to work, which includes buying a book, it shows how much you failed, because you had a region that was willing to stand, even to put their life on the line, to defend the cause for that which you voted, and you failed miserably. My advice to you would be that since you are just over the cliff in reference to chronology, your age, bow out gracefully. Join Granger at the Tea Party, and the two of you can sit and talk about memories from the army. Leave it to those who are young enough to fight.
A Tea Party indeed reminds me of the Tea Party out in Boston, how that Tea Party really started. It wasn't much good about that Tea Party out in Boston. But let me remind folks that Congress is coming up, the PNCR Congress. It should be sometime this year. I'm still looking for more folks to get into the race. I'm not going to touch on that as yet, but I need to be able, and I want to be able to pick a horse, so to speak, in that race.
You would try to do that?
Pardon me?
You would try to pick a horse in that race?
Will you?
Never. I wish you well.
I know it's strenuous, but hopefully. Now let's get back. Let's get back to this sad situation with this with these young people, dying. And I understand how the region, Mackenzie especially, Linden, is feeling right now, and people throughout the country are losing their loved ones as a result of COVID-19. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost every day now.
Yeah.
What exactly do you recommend the government should do as it pertains to getting a grip of this situation? We know that they have left the opposition out, completely shut them out of almost everything. What is your recommendation to these folks in the install regime, Frank Anthony and so forth?
Thank you. And I am certainly grateful that you took the time to ask me about the recommendations, because it really speaks to, and I'm not saying this lightly, to your caliber as a journalist. And I wish you can come and help some of these young cats here in Guyana. What I do recommend, first of all, is for the government to express interest in testing. Because if we've got cases that Frank Anthony spoke about, in which persons were buying books and so on, IDs, then it's obvious that those who walk around with the book may not very well be inoculated or vaccinated. So testing should be paramount. We must test to know people's status, but we should not test people's economic strength, which we don't have at this time. There should be testing that is free, because it is very, very hypocritical for them to say that you can only test at a private laboratory that the government recommends when you want to go to work. But in the case of this, the principle that you just posted, the top left, with this UG gown, the teachers around him were tested at a government clinic, and the results are being accepted. So if they can accept the results after somebody's positive, why you can't accept the results for people to get to work? Because we must have the knowledge of the status of every Guyanese. Secondly, we must have an adjustment made to these measures because it is causing more harm than it's doing good to us in reference to vaccine policies. In a time when persons are losing their loved ones to disease, they should not also lose their comfort knowing that they have to put themselves through certain burdens to get to work. Additionally, our pensioners and others should never be as insulted as this regime has done. I would advocate seriously for there to be criminal charges at the UN level levied against Barrett Jagdeo, Frank Anthony, and anybody else who's found culpable. There is no way that pensioners, 85, 90-year-old people should be calling me almost in tears because they cannot access their NIS pension without being vaccinated. These people are already almost at death's door, as some of them have said to me. And they're being treated as if they are second, third, or fourth class citizens in our nation. NIS, the post office in these places, GRA, could simply have screens set up where pensioners and others can access services. We must restore Guyanese to a place of comfort and peace of mind. It is not just about creating a vaccine war in this nation. It's about creating a place of peace and tranquility for Guyanese again. Additionally, I would like to lobby seriously and heavily for compensation. Because if the Minister of Health is saying that vaccines are safe and vaccines are okay, then do what they're doing in the UK. Have some benefit in place where you're prepared to compensate individuals, because there should not be many of them, who are injured in any way after receiving the jabs. That would give persons confidence to go ahead and be inoculated because, of course, there's some surety involved. What should not happen, definitely not happen, is that the Minister of Health should remain. I therefore recommend to Frank Anthony should resign as quickly as possible because he's to be held accountable for what is happening in this nation. It is unthinkable for a Minister of Health to say that he doesn't have to send blood samples to Carpe in Trinidad to test for what variant is in Guyana, when they've said this is not a variant of the Delta variant that they're observing in the UK. Frank says he doesn't have to test for anything. That is irresponsible. And Frank Anthony should resign because he has failed miserably in this regard. He does not have the confidence of the average Guyanese, and he should not hold on to anything called power at this moment. So apart from making changes to the order and to certain things that can bring us relief, Frank Anthony should be changed, removed from his seat because he cannot serve us any longer. Leslie Ramsamy needs to go as quickly as possible because he's one who introduced us to this consequence nonsense.
All right, 54 minutes after 9 o'clock, Apostle Nigel Linden with us. He travels the country now, part of a civil society group. Am I correct?
Yes, the people's movement is what we call.
Talk to us a little bit about what are the objectives of the people's movement.
Thank you. The people's movement is a group without limit. In reference to, we are not bound by geography or anything like that. Just Guyanese who have decided that we are going to make every effort to hold all elected officials accountable in reference to serving for what they paid to do. Additionally, the People's Movement is a group who is dedicated to advancing the interest of Guyanese, all Guyanese, to ensure that our generations that would follow would not inherit this disaster that we now have on our hand called leadership in this nation. We are seeking as much as possible to have honesty, decency, respect, and certain values restored among our people. And also, as a people's movement, we recognize the power that Guyanese have when Guyanese unite. We refuse to be divided by ethnicity and by the tricks of political leaders. We are adamant that Guyana can be better if Guyanese could wake up to see the tricks that have been played against them for so many years. And at this time, we've realized that Guyanese are onto it. And Guyanese are tired of the games that politicians are playing, because now we have situations in which persons recognize that when you have a Muslim president, suddenly many contracts are given to certain Muslim people. And they're recognizing that, and complaints are being raised that, okay, why are so many people coming to the forefront and enjoying benefits? Is it because of religion? And then you have, so within the PP Civic, you have Muslims, you have Hindus, and there seems to be a leaning towards certain groupings when it comes to contracts and benefits. People are realizing that even farmers are now part of the people's movement. And they're saying that they've recognized that they are not enjoying certain benefits any longer because it is very, very rough. It's difficult for them, as you saw with the relief for the flood. The small man is saying he's noticing certain people benefiting excessively. And some of them are pointing towards religion now, and that was unusual in the PP Civic. But now persons are saying, oh, so because you have a Muslim president, Muslims are benefiting now. Is he helping his people out? Even if that is not true, it is still perceived to be so. And as a people, we recognize that many Guyanese have lost confidence in themselves as the people. And that's what we're trying our best to do. This all started with my standing at the Mackenzie market and saying that we have the power to do something as people. And the term People's Movement was coined out of that. And I'm certainly living to see that Guyanese are becoming stronger every day. And we have hope. We have a lot of hope that we would be able to cause politicians to function in a manner that they should. We are even targeting trade unions, calling them to say, function as you should. That's basically what the People's Movement is about, calling on leaders to function. If you're being paid, if you're receiving a salary, you need to function or leave, because Guyanese are tired of it. That is what we're doing. And I'm certainly enjoying every day.
There are two questions I want to ask you, or maybe three before we go. One of them is somewhat of a controversial question.
Sure.
And you're smiling because I know you already read my mind when I say controversial question. You have this people's movement, and no one is discriminated.
Mm-hmm.
No one because of their religion or whatever, because of their political views or whatever. No one will be discriminated because of their sexual orientation too, right?
It depends on what their orientation is, because orientation simply means what you're inclined to do, what you have a proclivity to do. Pedophiles are not welcome. That's an orientation too. Rapists aren't welcome. That's being an orientation too. But anybody is free to come in reference to
what I meant
who hold high moral standing.
Yeah, if someone walking up and whining, a gay guy walks up and say, I have a problem with what is happening in this country. I have a serious concern. How will you address that from the People's Movement standpoint?
Thank you, and I'm glad that you've raised that question, because many persons wonder what I would do. This is not a religious organization. I interact with many people who are homosexual. Might be strange, but they're Guyanese. And even when I have issues with homosexuals in reference to what their policies or their view is, my problem is when they seek to impose their belief on me and seek to ask me to adjust what I think in reference to them. But if they have an issue, every Guyanese has a right to benefit from the things in Guyana. I've said it before, they have a right to work, they have a right to live, they have a right to every human right that is mentioned in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I will always stand for the right to do that. What I don't stand for is the right to seek to impose a new human right on me, which is the right for me to call them female if they're males. I wouldn't do that. But I will always stand for the right of anyone who is confined to functioning as a normal human being.
All right.
There's sorry, and I must say this. There's
okay.
one who contacted me saying they had an issue. He had an issue with at immigration, and he wanted to get his passport. He was told he has to pay for PCR test, and he has to pay, and it didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. The passport renewal form is about $4,000 or $5,000 Ghana dollars, and he was told by the agent at immigration, the officer, that he has to pay for PCR test, then he goes to get a photograph taken or whatever else it is, and then come back in 2 weeks. So he has to pay $50,000 to get a $5,000 passport. And it's a homosexual reach out to me. I didn't say to him, don't talk to me because of what you are. I said, okay, then it doesn't make any sense. And I will seek to do what it takes to ensure that you help. Because it is a human issue. It's not a moral issue. He didn't say to me, please accept my lifestyle. He simply said to me, well, I need help. Interestingly, and I want everybody to hear this, out of that gesture, the person said that they recognize the kind nature that I possess, that I have an interest in people, and that he's willing to have conversations with me about even that position. And we had a conversation that was very healthy and fruitful. So Guyana could get better if we learn how to disagree as men and continue to live.
I got you. And so you would say, sticking to that subject still, that it is incorrect for anyone in the LGBTQ community to say that you're anti them.
I am anti
in
reference to, sure,
yeah.
I'm against their value system. I'm against their lifestyle, of course, because it's wrong, generally speaking, in reference to what I said. But I'm not against them being human or being treated as human beings. I am against what they're doing to me. For example, if I say I don't agree with them, cancel Nigel London, shut Nigel London down. They did it to me on television, take him off the air. Now, when they call me all kinds of names, I don't say take them off the air. I say to them, you have a right to say what you want to say, because it is your right to do so. Our society will be very unhealthy if we do not have the capacity and the scope for disagreement, even passionate disagreements. I support people disagreeing with anyone. It's a human nature you have, and it's a right of yours. What I do not have the will to do is to look at a man and call him a woman because he said I must call him a woman. And that's my issue with them. They are compelling me to say things to them and about them that are beyond my conviction. And my brother, there is nothing in my lifetime that will ever make me adjust my conviction because of position in society. Never. Which is why when people ask me about being a president and so on, I say, be careful, because I would never lead a country in which I have to suppress my convictions. Not spiritual convictions here, just a human conviction. I would never be a leader of a country and look at a man and say, hey, you're a girl, because he said so. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather not lead anybody, because we must have the right to disagree as adults. It's a healthy way to live. You and I have had disagreements on certain things. People have never seen us fighting on this channel because we wouldn't do so. We've grown to understand we have a right to do that. All right. But I am against the community because their nature is to attack and oppress other people if you don't agree with them. And that is very, very childish and unhealthy. I would never support that.
For that aspect, you are against, and you're correct. We disagree sometimes. We agree a lot of times. But even when we disagree, we don't fight. But let me just remind you and our listeners that this is a show where we don't fight.
Thank you. And I'm grateful about that one.
This is a show where we don't fight, right? And we beat drums, spiritual drums, to move forward. But in closing, oops, I don't know. In closing, sorry about that. I was going to ask, but our operator Lemon just preempted that. I was going to ask that in closing, since you travel, across Guyana now, what are some of the sentiments being expressed by citizens about the failures of these folks in the installed regime?
It's interesting that Guyanese are tired of the political climate in general. Because what they're seeing, and I'm happy that I'm fortunate to interact with people of different levels in reference to intellect, how they view life, perspectives in life, and so on. And the average person is of the view that there's a clan or a clique of people functioning in this country, and the interest is not in the benefit of all Guyanese. So even when they're seeing houses being built and projects, and they're seeing roads and so on, it is not in which you're not hearing them praising the government to say, oh, they built roads and we're seeing houses. They're saying, oh, we know somebody's getting a contract and they're benefiting from it. We know somebody is getting some cutback or kickback here and there. And they also know that many of these things are being built so that the PP civic can be deemed successful while they fail the people in reference to our well-being. our psychological well-being, and so on. So the general feeling on the ground is that persons are desperate to see the backs of these politicians. And I have to try my best to say to them that we must, while they're here, demand that they function in a manner that they should. Many Guyanese are discouraged because life is becoming very, very tough for them. And it's even worse when they see certain people functioning as if they're lords in reference to this nation, while they are trying their best to simply survive. In Essequibo, the persons who are very, very excited about the thought of people getting together as Guyanese and we dropping all these barriers of ethnicity and so on. And the people excited to see that the potential that we have to cause change to come to us as a people. And that is just relieving to me and very, very encouraging. In Region 10, of course, we are always ready, always willing. It seems as if we like boxers now on the seat waiting just for the bell to ring for another fight to begin, because we are prepared to stand in Region 10 for what we believe in. In Region 6, the persons there are tired of the racist nature, even when they're benefiting to some extent. And they're seeing that their school gates are open wide. Parents are walking in and out to the school, but in other regions, the gates are closed, like Region 10, Southern Paris, Region 4. They're not for that. They're against it because they're saying that this is just wrong. Treat everybody the same way. And I'm happy to know that I'm fortunate to encounter Guyanese of every ethnic grouping. Even Chinese are smiling at me, Mark. And I go see Chinese people, they're smiling. I probably know my face from somewhere. The Chinese in Linden,
I know you. I know you.
Yeah, I know, right.
Yeah.
They've logged their businesses in Linden when I called on the 13th of September and said, let's shut things down. The Chinese actually did it. And when I went to see them the following day, they were happy to see me. So we have got
that Chinese restaurant next to Jagdeo.
You know it, huh?
Good Chinese food. Ni hao ma. Ni hao.
Yeah. So it's encouraging. And I'm glad that people have some degree of hope that something can work.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And you did mention earlier that I called you like about 15 minutes before the show started. And you were always willing and ready. Also, London, I know tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, bright and early, you will be in front of the Mackenzie High School, right at that gate, protesting. Yes. Hopefully other folks will join you. We want to carry it live right here on 107.1 FM, right here live.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Here's your opportunity for your closing remarks, sir.
Thank you. As always, to your listeners and to the viewers, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with us. Guyana deserves not just better, Guyana deserves the best. And the best that Guyana has to offer is the people of Guyana being united and strong enough to demand that every leader who is elected to serve in whatever capacity, wherever they're serving, they should serve you in the best interest of you, the Guyanese people. This is our hour as Guyanese, to arise with strength. We must act. Too much is happening around us, and we are too quiet about it. We must have the courage to stand again. Guyanese, we have never been and should never be people who are worthy of being trampled upon. Slavery is over. Let us not be victims to modernized slavery, where people who believe that they have money, they have strength politically, and otherwise, they believe that they have the right to trample on us. Let us unite as a people for the benefit of our children, for the benefit of our generations. Let us leave Guyana with a legacy of strength and not weakness. This is our hour to unite as a people and to stand in the best interests of Guyana. Guyana is we own.
Guyana is we own indeed. And there's a little voice somewhere inside is telling me that I have to pay careful attention to the people's movement. That whenever you guys are going around the country, I want us here on 107.1 FM to be able to carry at least some of those events that you guys have, walking around the country, meeting with the people. I think that is important. And I just wish that some of the politicians, some of the members of parliament that I like, I really do like, are not doing what the people's movement is about to set out to do. But I really appreciate the fact that you're on. We will be carrying you live tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, right here on 107.1 FM. Thank you so much for your time, Apostle John.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
London, sorry.
John. Thank you.
Mark, Luke, and John. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I understand. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, Apostle Nigel London there. And you've heard it. You've heard it. The People's Movement, traveling around the country, talking to the people, writing things down, listening to the people, because that is what is important. And oftentimes politicians do not listen to the people. They prefer to listen to themselves. So they want to speak, and they want a big speaker. So when you think that the big speakers are there for them to talk so that they can have a proper message to the people, their messages basically is, their position is to hear themselves speak. Hello, hello, and it echoes back. So they're not listening to the audience. The People's Movement, according to Apostle Nigel London, is to go out there and listen to the people, the concerns of the people. And to be that representative, he did say that they call up the unions. He did say that they call up other places. If the People's Movement is going to be a wake-up call for the politicians, especially the politicians that we like, especially the politicians that we want to go out there and work, especially those politicians who ought to be working but are sleeping, slumbering, especially the politicians, some of whom are in parliament, who believe that their position as lawmakers are basically a part-time position. So they are going to go out and deal with your issues whenever they have time for you. This is not a part-time hustle. I want some of them to understand this, that if they don't go out and represent their people in their different regions, well, hey, cat gonna eat their dinner. Because any country, the people's voice or the people's movement is very strong and powerful. And so especially those in the opposition, if y'all don't want cat to eat y'all dinner, y'all wake up. Don't get vexed when I speak. Don't get upset. Don't scratch your head. Don't sharpen your knives for me. Wake up. Wake up. The PPP is in office through a minority, so to speak. Not a heck of a lot. When I say minority, just a 1 or 2 seats away. You guys in the opposition should be closing in on PPP support base to get back all those people who are frustrated, who are upset, who are disappointed in this installed regime. Get them. You can't get them on social media. You can't get them on a Facebook Live. You have to put on your boots and go to the ground. Put on your boots and hit the ground. Now, these boots, certainly not. Change the boots. Put on some stronger boots and hit the ground and represent your people before cat eat your dinner. I repeat, go out and represent your people before cat eat your dinner. Don't sit down in your offices and fight and complain and who's running for leadership, who's not running, and fight down and fight down and fight down. It's not going to work. But I will be watching the People's Movement, though. I kind of like that sound to it. People's Movement. Essequibo, talk to the people. Quarantine, talk to the people. Linden, talk to the people. Members of Parliament, do your job. I'll be back tomorrow. Same place, same time. But don't forget, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we will be carrying Apostle London and others live right here on 107.1 FM. Thanks to all of you, beautiful people all across Guyana, and outside of Guyana. And thanks to our operator who's on the job today, off the job tomorrow. But he has done a great job. Lemon, thank you so much. God bless you all.
It's hard to be at peace with the ones who are so discard. It's hard. Them have a knife in your back and them smile it so broad. Help me to deal with the ones them who say them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd a shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. God, the booby traps with them set is real. I never want to take your glory, Lord. Send your angels to encamp around about me and stand guard. To envy is so easy and to love it is so hard. Let me work for your glory and not for the award. Don't make me ever get caught up in the scream and the applause and go talk about the blessing and not talk about the Lord. All these things are vanity. I need your reward. Let me be real. Don't put on no facade. Help me to deal with the ones them who say them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them give me flesh when the crowd a shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. God, the booby traps with them set is real. Sticks and stones can break my bones and words can harm me. They can harm me. When the evil come against me, you'll protect me. You'll protect me. Father, I need the strength of your son. Jesus. Cause you know my work is not done. Lord, I need that endurance just to finish this race that I run. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. And help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd is shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. God, the booby traps with them set is real. You tell me to stand firm, cause every little plan you have a confirm. I know them evil plan turn. In a darkness, me a the long term. So help me to deal with the ones that who said them love me when them really don't. Jesus, help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd a shout. Help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. God, the booby traps with them set is real. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them kill me flesh when the crowd a shout. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Jesus, help me on the battlefield. Help me on the battlefield. God, the booby traps with them set is real. Help me to deal with the ones them who said them love me when them really don't. Help me to deal with the fans them